Set 2 will be played on Newkirk. Spawning in the bottom left-hand position as the red Zerg from SK Telecom T1. His name is S2.
His opponent spawns in the bottom right position as Blue Terran, playing for Kespa teammate. His name is Cure.
Indeed, so Cure. We always see little glimpses of brilliance from him, but then at other times he just seems very mediocre, and he's like pulling on my heartstrings, I feel, because I saw so much potential in him, and then he just kind of went on a roller coaster up and down, and unfortunately right now, 4-game losing streak, he is a little bit on a downward turn of that roller coaster.
In fact, this was his strongest matchup. We did not see a 50% win rate in his TBC, but now he is only 11-11 in this matchup, especially after Heart of the Swarm kicked in. He hasn't been playing that well, but look at this Cure. His SCB is being sneaky.
Indeed it is. Looks like he's going to go for a proxy 10 racks here. Very, very early barracks here. Generally you'll see 11, 11, 12, 12. Okay, he's getting the refinery behind this. So he's going to try, you know, really apply a lot of pressure early on in the game here.
The problem is S2 is sending out a drone scout, and some Zerg players, they try to play as safe as possible, sending a scout to make sure that his opponent is not doing anything sneaky. Usually they only see a command center, but this time around S2 is going to see a fast gas from his opponent.
He's also going to see the SCV count as well. This is going to tip him off exactly what his opponent's up to. Look at that. S2 does not grab an expansion. He puts down a spawning pool immediately here. And we'll have to see how fast he can react to this barracks pressure here. Now it's up to S2 the scout where this is and react accordingly to the pressure from Cure.
Well, we do have the first Reaper out on the way from our Terran player Cure, as S2, he still has no clue where the barracks is hiding near his base.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be able to eventually figure out what's going on. Does put down the natural hatchery. It's got a lot of health. The Reaper can't pick it off without a lot of assistance or time, and we do see S2 grabbing a gas behind this as well. Gonna go ahead and scout his opponent's main base as well with the Overlord, just to, you know, confirm that there's nothing else in there.
So the spawning pool does finish, but the first Reaper is already out, so S2, he needs to micro his drones properly to make sure he buys enough time and make sure that too many drones are not lost to the single Reaper.
Indeed. Now, we do have the Zergling speed already on the way. Nice surround on the SCV there. And the drone's actually, you know, picking away a little bit at this Reaper. Excellent control from S2 so far, getting a few more hits on that Reaper with the Zerglings. Looks like he's going to be able to chase it away. A second Reaper, though, on the way, going to complete relatively soon here. The Queen as well, about to pop out of this hatchery and help deal against the Reaper. One kill so far from the Reaper, forcing a different build out from S2 and a lot of Zerglings, but it doesn't look like he's going to do too much economic damage with this.
Yeah, in fact, he was hoping to kill a lot of drones, but since the Queen is out, the Reapers have to run away, and Cure is forced to wall off at the natural using the factory. The Reapers are still alive and well, gonna annoy his opponent S2, but certainly not dealing the economic damage that Cure wanted to do.
Indeed, and there's a third Reaper on the way, so they're going to continue to just be annoying for another few minutes here. The Zerglings that are slow, they can't chase down the Reapers until they have that speed.
Well, S2 also needs to be careful. He needs a second Queen over there, because once the third Reaper kicks in, Cure can micro those Reapers and take out the Queen if he wants to.
Alright, looks like Cure just wants to stick on 3 Reapers here. Gonna send away that barracks back to the main base. The Queen, though, getting low on health here. The second Queen from the natural is only about halfway done. We do have another Queen from the main base being sent down to the natural. The Queen down to just a little bit of help here. A few drones getting picked off by the Reapers as well. Now they're starting to do the damage, and all 3 of them are still alive.
The problem is they only killed up to 3 drones, and remember, his natural expansion is so much later than S2's.
Yeah, it's a great point you bring up there. And the tech will be a little bit delayed as well. He's getting the armory here. I guess we'll follow it up with the starport as well, so we can start doing Hellbat drops. But I feel like S2, he may have a bit of a window here where we can do some damage with these Zerglings that are going to have speed any second now.
Yeah, for now, S2 just wants to drone up behind us, making sure that he is stabilized on 2 bases. After defending against his opponent's early harassment, he sees a factory with a reactor, he sees a command center, he sees exactly what his opponent is going for, except for the armory that's hidden on the right bottom corner.
Indeed, if you can spot that armory, that's going to let S2 know everything he needs to know about this game. He does see the starport. If he just scouts south a little bit more, he will see the armory, but is he going to actually be able to spot it? His Overlord is simply heading to the right, not south. Oh, he's going to miss it.
Well, the Overlord is still in that direction, and remember, his opponent, Cure, does not have any Marines to kill off the Overlord, so it can still go down and scout what his opponent is doing. And as a professional player, seeing the factory with a reactor and a starport, you should know that sometime soon there's going to be some Hellbat drops inside your main base.
This follow-up attack from Cure is actually going to be really dangerous, though. There's 3 Reapers instead of the normal 2 with this push here, and the Zergling's out of position from S2. Cure, it looks like he's going to be able to do a lot of damage, and then he's going to follow this up with a Hellbat medevac drop as well. S2, he needs to somehow hold this pressure here in order to stay in this game, but if he can hold it without taking too much economic damages, he will set himself up for a solid mid-game. Spots the Hellbat drop as well, forcing that to stay in the main base for slightly longer. The Zerglings killing off a few workers as well.
Yeah, well, Cure was supposed to leave with the first 2 Hellbats, and instead of using that back at the main base to defend against only 6 Zerglings, he wanted to leave, he wanted to keep it secret until it arrived in the main base and wreaked havoc on the drones. But now S2 exactly knows what is up from our Terran player Cure.
So S2, those Zerglings actually ended up helping him out a lot here. He's got a lot of roaches popping out of those eggs now as well. The Queen's in position to defend against the Hellbat drop here. No stacked defense in sight, but we do have roaches on the way. A Baneling nest in production as well here. Cure wants to get aggressive from 2 angles at once. The medevac boosting in here towards the natural. The drones are lined up here, and a lot of them could get potentially picked off here. They're so low on health, but the Hellbat's just slightly too slow here. The drones will end up dying. The medevac gets picked off as well.
Yeah, the drones still need to run, however, as the Hellbats are in the middle line. Zergling's also trying to get some SCVs at the natural, and he sneaks inside the main base, but these 2 Hellbats are gone.
S2 doing a fantastic job with this harassment and defending against the drops and the pressure from Cure this game. This is the style of play that Cure loves to play. S2 is handling it perfectly. Now he's got 13 roaches. He's going to march across the map. Cure has no choice but to defend in this scenario here.
The problem is, does he have enough units to defend against the roaches? He only has 3 Hellions, 4 Hellbats. In fact, he is forced to make a bunker on top of the ramp, and if he needs to, he's going to lift up the command center at the natural, forcing himself to stay only on 1 base.
Yeah, he is forced to certainly lift that command center there. There are a few Marauders in the composition, though, to deal with the roaches. The problem is the Concave could be really good for our Terran player here, and also Hellbats here roasting those Zerglings. No chance for them to survive. The Baneling's going to come up, though. S2 wants to end this attack with the Banelings, with the roaches as well. The Hellbats did a great job in the main base here, but the problem is, can Cure actually defend at his main base? The Banelings blowing up the reactor, the 2 supply depots as well, and now they're going to head towards the SCVs, towards the bunker as well. The roaches now moving in as well. So many units have been killed on each side here, and now in the natural of S2, the Hellbats are going to be able to pick off a lot of the workers here as well.
Yeah, the SCV's being pulled off in the middle line, and that's just enough for Cure to defend against the attack. Both players getting a lot of workers, but S2 needs to make sure he doesn't lose any additional drones behind this. And if you look at the worker count, it's 25 SCVs to 17 drones of S2.
Cure, somehow he defends, and now he finds himself actually ahead. He's almost double in supply of his opponent here. He defended against the attack. I guess the Banelings, they just didn't connect with enough important units here. So S2, he's now in all of a sudden a very awkward position. He was looking pretty good. He wanted to bust in and win the game. Cure held. He didn't lose too much economy. And, you know, I think Zergling run-bys like this can help get S2 back in the game here. This one actually could be very deadly. There's nothing to defend against those Zerglings in the main base of Cure, but he's still at the same time trying to do Hellbat drops in the main base, trying to go for a big push here. One of the Hellbats picked off, as well as the medevac, and only 1 Hellbat remains inside between the main and the natural here. But this attack from Cure needs to do a critical amount of damage, or we could see once again the game turn around.
Yeah, 15 SCVs are only left for Cure, as the drone count and the SCV count are similar, but these 3 Queens need to defend against the attack. If he can hold, he can stabilize and still win the game.
Transfusions going off as well. A few roaches reinforcing. The Hellbats almost picked off here, but the Marauder count still good. Zergling reinforcements are going to indeed force Cure back, along with the Queens and the roaches. Will hold off this aggression, just barely. Excellent control from S2. Narrow, razor-sharp timing, just barely defends there, but now he needs more Zerglings to deal with the high Marauder count. from Cure.
Yeah, and remember, S2 is still only sitting on 17 drones, which means he doesn't have enough economy to make constant units. If he does have the economy, he could just stream a lot of units and pretty much defend his opponent easily. And now he does so with a couple of roaches and 3 queens. Cure cannot move up the ramp over there, but remember, there's no mining happening inside the main base of S2.
Lack of mining is going to be hurting him a lot here. Barely any production on the Zerg side here. We do see Cure adding on a few more SCVs, getting some more Hellbats now, as well as Marauders and Medivacs, and it just turns to a unit composition that in a low econ game is very, very hard for the Zerg player to deal with here. Cure moving forward, he stems, able to easily kite against the few amount of Zerglings that are here, and the Marauders, they're great against the Queens and the Roaches here, but it looks like S2, does he have indeed enough units here? The Hellbats have arrived now. They're going to make those Zerglings almost useless in this situation. They need to get a good surround on the Marauders, but is it going to be enough here? The Hellbats picked off here. Marauders still remain S2. His units are slowly starting to dwindle here. The supply still very in Cure's favor.
And with Cure having constant reinforcements, he can take out the Baneling Nest, he can take out their hatchery, and he can go for the kill against his opponent's S2. S2 tried to stay aggressive throughout the whole game, going for the Roach and Baneling Bust, but the problem is he lost too many drones to the constant Hellbat drops from Cure.
Indeed he did, and the few drones in the main base here not going to live against these Hellbats most likely unless they're microed away here. A few, looks like one gets picked off here, but I mean, look at the Marauder count there, absolutely ridiculous. They're going to be able to easily deal with those Roaches. I don't think you even need to micro those against the Roaches, and the Queens are not going to be able to help out much either. Hellbat's now dropping in the natural, and S2, he simply does not have a solution for the Hellbat Marauder Medivac combination.
In fact, if you look at the supply, it's 87 to 25 a reserve player as S2. He doesn't have any units against Cure.
Indeed he doesn't. GG is called. S2 falls. Cure, with this constant aggression and excellent defense against the Baneling Roach timing, takes set number 2.
You know, I really like the fact that S2 was doing a nice job defending against the early Reapers and some of the pressure, but the problem is once he decided to lead with the Zerglings and the Roaches, he had nothing back in his main base to defend against the Hellbats.
Indeed, the Hellbat drops just did a little bit too much damage, I feel, to S2. If he could have defended against those a little bit better, we could have seen a different game. Now the score tied up 1-1. The next match will be Parting versus Argo, a PvP. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back after this commercial break.